Chapter 10. Foix, 10th of August, 1209. The sun is incessant, demanding. It strikes us about the exposed face where my black cowl cannot provide sufficient shade, and burns us where it can catch our skin. Our walk from Toulouse has been a matter of judging when we might make the best progress, and when a tactical retreat to either a leafy overhang or a friendly home is the best plan. My robes, marking me out as a perfect of the good people, still gain me respect and hospitality for the moment. But the northern lords and the Pope's servants are seeking to change that. Already troops are massing, and the Languedoc prepares itself for invasion. Hope for talk is failing. We've been marked as heretics, and there's no room for that in the new vision of Christianity. We're nearing our destination now. The mountains rise steeper and stronger with each passing day, even as our food bags empty. The river is a blessing, though. Without the Ariège to keep us company, the distance would be impossible on foot in this heat. Drink, Paul, for the good God's sake. There's a gentle chiding to Benedict's tone. I have to stifle a chuckle. Sometimes I think he believes I'll waste away forgetting to eat or sleep if he weren't here to prompt my memory. It's all from the best of sources. A good and caring heart, but I'm no fragile flower, liable to shatter if breathed on too hard. My life before the robes was similar to his. Perhaps a little less hard, with a little more love, but not much of a difference. My abstinence from earthly matters, my attempt to live up to the role of perfect, might mean I won't raise a fist in my defence now, but I brawled aplenty when I was a lost young man. Still, that's his role. Until he takes up his own robes, he's my strong right hand and guardian. For me to sin would mean the loss of my soul disintegrating into nothingness upon my death. A price I paid for my consolamentum, the ceremony that raised me to the position of perfect priest of the good Christians. Of course, it also means as long as I don't sin, I'll finally escape this mortal plane when I die. For Ben, until he does his own ceremony. Sin carries no weight other than a likely longer time reincarnating before escaping from this material prison and joining the good God outside of the bonds of the physical world. Not that he sins much, unless you count his frustrated cajoling of me as a sin. Of course, I hope he'll see his own aims through and join me in wearing the robes once he's ready. If he becomes a perfect, this will be his last life too. Like me, he'll break free from the fetters the evil God dressed us in, chaining us to this physical world. His heart is there, full of love and hope. He just needs to shed the last few restraints of his upbringing, and he'll be ready to wear the black. Drink, Paul, you stubborn bastard. His insistence grows and shatters my reverie. I sigh. He's right, of course. I take the gourd he's offering and drink, then smile my thanks. It's weak and thin, much as I feel myself. Not from lack of eating. No. It's the weight of the burden we carry. Until it's safely in the vaults of Foix, I'll not rest easy. The Pope would love to get his hands on it. I don't doubt he's not the only one. My eyes aren't really on where I'm going, and my foot catches in one of the dust-concealed holes in the well-trodden path. With an effort, I check my stumble, stopping myself from sprawling across the road, but Ben's there immediately. His arm steadies me, his fingers strong, but with a tenderness to his grip, supporting me, keeping me from falling, always there to keep me upright, steadfast, a staunch friend. He looks at me hard, his eyes tracing my features, no doubt noting the lines the journey's wearing into my face, the bags like bruises under my eyes. His gaze lingers on those. We rest now. There's an insistent growl, the result of having to deal with my somewhat contrary resistance to his attempts at looking after me. He's right, of course, as usual. He gives me an arm to lean on. I'm not that old, only just gone 30. But it's true, the responsibility of our charge has meant I've not taken care of myself as well as I should in this blazing heat. I can feel the strength returning to my limbs when we get under the cover of the boughs overhanging the bank of the river. The gurgle of rushing water is a beautiful melody, and I take a moment to breathe it all in. These moments are precious. And it's so easy to rush from duty to demand and never appreciate them fully. My apologies, Ben. I turn another strengthened smile his way and see the delight light up his features. You were right as ever, my friend. You've no need to apologise ever to me. He slaps me lightly on the arm. I think he's still afraid I might keel over if he claps me too hard. His hand rests gently on my shoulder. Just be less bloody pig-headed and let me take care of you, for goodness sake. It's fair. You're here to keep that banditry away, not to be my nursemaid. Then stop acting like you need one, you daft sod. His returned grin softens the word, takes any sting away. He's only worried about me, and I know it really. A cough behind us breaks the moment of camaraderie. The sight of the person coughing sends shivers down my spine for reasons I can't explain. A young knight, broad-shouldered, armoured, and with a full red beard, stands up on the roadside some metres away where we descended the bank. His face is amiable, but his sword is drawn, and there's something in the way he stands, in his passive expression, in his eyes, where for a moment I think I see something flash far more claret than his hair. In that instant, there seems to be an elongation to his face, more muzzle than mouth. The next, it's back to normal, naught but a ruddy visage. But the disquiet remains. Looking over at Ben, I see his hand is wrapped around his sword's pommel, the unease in his expression, a reflection of that in the pit of my stomach. He steps forward, drawing the attention to him, the good God bless him. Greeting, stranger! He calls it out loud and clear, broadcasting his confidence, his lack of fear. Do you hail us? How may we help you? The man smiles, and for a second, I think I see incisors longer than a carving knife's blade. Again, it disappears so fast, I wonder if the heat is affecting me worse than I imagined. Well, a fine sight, a fine sight, he shouts back, and starts to slowly advance down the slope. Ben's sword clicks free. Not drawn yet, but ready to be liberated at a moment's notice. Again, sir? Ben's tone is polite, but insistent, readied. I must ask what your business is with us. A good man, a perfect no less, out on the roads in these troubled times with, and by no means do I intend offence, only one such as you to guard him. He spreads his hands, a peaceful gesture, undermined by the presence of 3 feet of steel in the right one. Why, to offer my aid in assuring your safe conduct of soir. He's getting closer, slowly, and every step he takes towards us, my dread increases. Whoever this man is, my instincts are screaming at me to not trust him, to flee him if we can. The good God gave me them for a reason. I think I'll do well to pay them full mind. Before I can refuse, Ben raises an excellent point. And what's in it for you? Why, nothing much. Perhaps to alleviate your load a little. Whatever you carry in that battered old knapsack'll do. He points with his sword straight at our treasure. My blood chills to ice. How does he know? the greatest prize of the good people, the treasure given to us long ago by Mary Magdalene herself. How can he be aware? Have we been betrayed? The brigand, for brigand he is by my accounting, sees the question on my face and laughs. You've no need to worry about treachery, good man. The content of that bag shines like the heavenly sun for those of us who can see. There's a weird emphasis on that last word, which makes it clear that we aren't included in that number. Ben's sword is free in a moment, and he takes another step forward. You'll take it from us over my dead body. As you wish, my good man. The brigand steps forward again, and it seems to me as if he expands, growing, his muscles lengthening, his face becoming more animalistic, losing some of its human traits. Terror pours through my system. There is something terribly, devilishly wrong with this man. What goes on here, then? Another unfamiliar voice rises from the road, and I look up, wondering who it is, whether someone is riding to our rescue. Not by all appearances. The man wears a simple brown tunic, his hair clipped short, a Star of David hanging on a pendant. He has a warm face, handsome, with a scholarly air. A rabbi, by all accounts, come to act as a good Samaritan in our hour of need. The man's face fades back to fully human. I expect him to laugh at the stranger, another holy man unlikely to offer a villain such as him any obstacle. Instead, he turns a sneer, as bestial as his face looked a moment previous, on the newcomer. What want of you of knowing my business, Jew? His words are angry, full of promised violence. The rabbi doesn't blink. Only to see all is well for another seeker of truth. I hope you are not bothering them, Wolf. The man snarls, fully snarls, like a caged beast brimming with rage, and steps towards the interloper. My fear rising, I'm about to prompt Ben to intercede, to act, and save our would-be do-gooder. But the rabbi simply raises a peaceful hand and says one word to the devilish bandit. Look. Again, there's that same strange pronunciation, the emphasis on the word as when the other said see. Whatever it is, the thief stops for a moment. I get the impression he is inspecting the rabbi, though in a way different from how I would. It's impossible to explain how, or how I know, but I feel sure of it. Whatever he sees changes everything. The brigand shrinks in on himself, and a whimper, low and long, comes from him like a keen of a wild beast over a dead mate. He backs up, his head lowered. Time to be on your way, wouldn't you think? The rabbi's voice is calm, placid, but there's a force behind it, a force the man responds to. Not with words, no. The villain turns, angles himself for the road, and flees, racing to escape the presence of the quiet, scholarly-looking holy man who stands above us. Incredible. I have no idea what I just witnessed, not really, but my instincts tell me it was something quite extraordinary, that more went on than my eyes could see. My thanks, I call out, and step forward to go greet our benefactor, but Ben's arm grips mine, pulling me back. Careful pull, he hisses through clenched teeth. It strikes me he looks more afeared now than he did when an armed man was closing in on us. He's an accursed Israelite. There's dark sorcery at work here. I turn to him and let him see the sadness in my gaze. It is a terrible thing to be so marked, to have such terrible prejudices so deeply ingrained. My friend, so was Jesus of Nazareth who carved us this gift, so was Mary Magdalene who brought it to us. He's a fellow holy man. What happened was a miracle, a religious working, not dark magics. You do him a disservice as well as yourself. And me. I can't fully keep the stern tone from my voice, but he needs to hear it. The words penetrate, and I see him hang his head, although I notice his eyes still smoulder slightly at the rebuke. This isn't the first time we've had this conversation, whether about Jews or Moors, or even our own good women. Sadly, I don't think it'll be the last. Some things take a long time to unlearn. Still, that's my role as his mentor and friend, to help him pass over such ideas to grow beyond his own background. We'll get there, in the end. I clap him on the shoulder this time to break the built tension. Hopefully, that's enough to stop him from stewing too much on his guilt and bad feelings while I go speak to our benefactor. Well met. There's truth in that, though the rabbi's tone carries no sense of pride or of us owing a debt. Genuine, warm, welcoming. He offers his hand to help me up the last part of the sloping bank, and I accept it gratefully. His clasp is firm, and it's a matter of seconds to scramble the last part. Not my most dignified of movements, but I'll leave those sorts of pretensions to the Catholic priest. I know my own clumsiness, and the value of an offered helping hand. That was quite something, Rabbi. I pause. Though I've encountered the Jews plenty of times, for there's nowhere else in Christendom they're more accepted and welcomed by my reckoning. Here in the Languedoc, it is the first time I've crossed paths with one of their holy men. Isaac? He smiles easily and pulls out his gourd, then plumps himself down on the top of the bank. The mountains on the other side rise heavenwards, as though we could climb them and escape this plain then in a single bound. Only the view of Ben, kicking stones at the water's edge, mars the view slightly. I sigh and let that one go, sitting myself next to this Rabbi Isaac. There'll be time for soothing his temper later on. Well, Rabbi Isaac, that was some strange occurrences. Upon my troth, I'd say you came at just the right moment. I let my gratitude fill my voice, let him know how much I appreciate his involvement. A pleasure, good man. So, he recognises my own robes. No surprise. Despite what the local priests might believe, we perfects are still the main holy order in this region. At least in terms of who the common men and women turn to and trust in. I lower my voice. What was that, sir? It seemed to me, for a moment, as though he changed, and why did he fear you so? Whilst I don't doubt your capacity to take care of yourself, I cannot understand the danger he saw in you. He saw not in myself and Benedict. Not least considering we, or Ben at least, are armed and you are not. Isaac looks across at me, studying me carefully. So, you saw that, did you? He pauses. Do you know, good man, I do not know your name either. Paul. I offer my hand once more and we shake again. He merits it. Well, Paul, there are stranger things in this world than even those of us who serve God's people might at first believe. Some are gifted, or cursed according to others, with the ability to see. Again, that strange emphasis. For those who can, what you carry draws both the eye and the desire. My alarm rises. Is Ben right? Is this strange rabbi after our treasure? Isaac sees my reaction and chuckles, spreading his hands open and empty, waving me to calm. Relax, Paul the Perfect. I'm not after your artifact, whatever it is. I'm simply warning you. It might leave you open to risk. Have you much farther to go? I shake my head. Only to the keep at Foix. Once we're there, it'll be a simple matter of passing it off to Lord Raymond. He's a loyal friend to the good people. His sister, Esclamonde, is a perfect after all. I see doubt in Isaac's eyes. Forgive me, but I am not sure any mortal can provide true security for such as you carry. My wariness is back. Still, so have I been charged, and so I shall do. He shrugs, spreading his hands again. You must do as you feel right. His eyes narrow, a thought clearly striking him. Tell me something, good man. How important is it to you protecting your charge? My indignance rises. Why, it's on my honour. I will happily trade my life for its safety. Isaac plucks a grass blade and rubs it between thumb and forefinger, back and forth. Will you be staying to guard it? For as long as my duties allow, aye. There's trouble brewing. Storm clouds on the horizon. Eventually I'll need to return to my people. If I could give you a gift to allow you better to identify potential threats, would that interest you? Now, it is intrigue that rises up. What sort of gift? And why do I feel like there's a hidden addendum to this offer? He grins and chuckles, slightly abashed. You're a good read of man, my friend. The gift I can give will make it easier to spot those like you just encountered. Stranger people or beings who might be interested in your prize. The other side to the coin is that it'll also make you more visible to them. Once you leave your post at Foire, the likelihood of you encountering the strange and supernal will increase. We are all flawed creatures. I return his amiable smile, and the good God knows curiosity is one of my worst. I'll take your gift, Rabbi. If it will let me stand better in my duties, have at it. The Rabbi places his hand on my forehead and closes his eyes. He mutters something, words with strange syllables, harsher and more guttural than I'm used to. A warmth spreads from our contact, passing through my body, and for a moment he seems radiant, surrounded by a white illumination, as when a sunbeam strikes through a cloud, lighting up the edges. Then it passes. It is done, good man. You will sleep well tonight. All I've done is unlock the natural abilities already present in you. Seeing those like our friend who fled, or like me myself, will become easier over time. He looks pensive, chewing his lip. Perhaps he is not wholly convinced he has done the right thing. If these troubles now facing your people should ease, then I think further guidance may be needed. In that case, come to Montpellier. Seek me out among the Hashmeh province, the elder council of the Jewish community. I'll be there to aid you, should you need. I smile, nod, and offer my thanks. It seems rude to denigrate his offer, to point out I have no expectation of our troubles easing. Not while either the Pope or any of the good people of the Languedoc draw breath. We exchange a few last pleasantries, then he stands, dusting the pollen off his robe, and bids us farewell. We too set off once more, heading for the chateau at Foire and the hopes of safety. Ben is quiet along the route, perhaps ruminating on his own conduct, perhaps mortified by mine. My mind is elsewhere. I cannot help but wonder how long anywhere, even the mountainous bastions such as Foire, will be safe for those like me who wear the black robes of the good people.